Hi, this is Roy Worley. Welcome to the interview show that brings on guests from all walks of life. Yeah, it's here that they tell their stories and delve a little deeper into their lives to see what got them where they are. So grab a drink, have a seat, and relax, because this is the Leo Effect.
So you finally made a name for yourself. Congratulations! But how do you get your name out to the world? Turn to WorldStar PR. The caring, honest, and invested team at WorldStar PR will give you maximum exposure through podcasts, TV, radio, amazing press releases, and red carpet events. They'll ensure that you are worldwide. Jimmy Starr, entertainment guru, and Eileen Shapiro, rock star journalist, will give you the world. So come join the likes of legendary actor Ron Russell, iconic musicians Scott Page and Fred Schneider, world-class designer Sue Wong, TV personality Mickey Burns, and so many more. Check them out on Facebook or on their website, jimmystarsworld.com/WorldStarPR. WorldStar PR, where the world revolves around you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Leo Effects. Now, today I'm joined by a special guest. You may recognize the name of the band that she does vocals for from an interview I did a while back. But today I'd like to introduce all of you to Kim from the band Revolushn. How are you today?
Hey, couldn't be better.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you're making your way with everything being so crazy in the world right now.
Yeah, it's really nuts, isn't it?
For real. So I alluded to it a little bit before, and I think with everything going on, it kind of speaks to the name of your band, Revolushn. With all this stuff we've got going on in the world. So I kind of want to talk about your place within that.
Let's do.
All right. We heard from Frank before and his take on how things came together. So first I want to ask you, when did you realize that you wanted to become a singer, that singing was your destiny?
Oh man, when did I not want to become a singer? Really, it's just kind of been a lifelong venture. Just kind of always did it, even as a kid, and started to get serious about it probably when I reached high school. I got in everything that you could possibly get into musically and excelled. Singing just kind of came natural to me. It's just a thing that just kind of happens,
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess my first band happened when I was 15. And I was more of a rock and roller. And I got a job offer to sing in a country western band. And all my friends were like, "Don't do it, you rebel." But it was an opportunity. And my brother and I used to sit on the roof at night. And so we climbed out our bedroom windows and we sat on the roof. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to join this band." So that kind of kicked things off band-wise, and the band was just crazy successful. We were the most booked band in Central California, and booked every weekend, sometimes 3 nighs a weekend. And,
Wow.
When we had a break, it was like a great time,
Yeah.
I missed all the high school events and the dances and whatnot, but I just always knew that it was really special to be singing in a band, and so I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's
but
awesome.
That's how I got started, and then I went to how can I make this story short? This is kind of a life question you've asked. Let's see. That band went on for like 5 years, and the guitar player and I were in love, and he decided to become religious, and we both did actually, and became Christians, and then suddenly playing in bars was not okay with him, so he wanted to fold the band. We were devastated because the band kind of was surrounded around his playing, and our singing together. We were kind of the highlight of the show, and so and then we ended up breaking up for various reasons, and so I kind of hung up my music for about 2 years just because it was too much it hurt too much. So 2 years went by, and I had moved to the mountains, and I decided, you know what? I'm 26 years old. I have no kids. I got a tax return coming, and I am just going to go for it. Because, I mean, how would you feel if you never found out? You know, if you never gave it your shot in the business and you never found out? Well, I didn't want to go to my grave not knowing. So I wanted to either go to Nashville or Branson, and it ended up being Branson. And so, make a long story longer, I took off. Oh, well, you know, I mean, the great thing about this story is that when I set my mind to it, I had no idea how I was going to get there. All I had was a little bit of money. But, you know, when you're 26 and you've got your dreams and a little bit of money, you know, a lot of things happen, right?
Right.
And so I told my boss, I said, you know, and my coworkers, I'm out of here, you know, in a month. I'm going to go. I'm going to go give it my shot. And my boss and I, we were close friends, and he just couldn't stand it because suddenly Branson, which was where I decided to go, was everywhere. Patients would come in. I mean, we'd never heard of the place. It was just the Branson boom. And patients would come in because I was a dental assistant, by the way. So I can sing and check your teeth at the same time.
Ooh, fancy.
So anyway, so it just kept happening where Branson kept coming up in conversation, and my boss just, you know, face palmed himself every time, like, I'm sick of this Branson, because, you know, he had a great practice going, and we just were, I was his assistant, he was a dentist, and we were just really tight, but I had to do what I had to do, right? So I go to this festival, and this is a town of about maybe 2,000 people, and there's this booth that has these a spinning wheel where you can put a t-shirt on it, you can paint whatever you want on it, your name or whatever, and splat paint on it and spin it. It looks really cool, right? Well, there was a ton of people gathered around this thing, and I had to see what was going on. So I kind of, like, you know, weaseled my way into this crowd and looked at what was spinning around, and all of a sudden it comes to a rest and it says Branson. And I thought, what the heck? This is really weird. So I yell out in the crowd, I say, who here is from Branson? Whose shirt is this? Well, this lady, she had a big beehive hairdo, and she was well-to-do. And she kind of felt like you were below her, you know. She kind of turned around and looked at me and said, I am. And I said, oh, really? I said, well, I'm going to Branson myself. And she says, why are you going to Branson? I said, well, I'm a singer. I want to give it my shot in the business. And she says, you can't just go to Branson. I said, well, I'm going. I don't care how I get there. I just know I'm going. And so, you know, one way or another, she says, there are people living under bridges. Every motel is booked. There's no place to live. And I said, well, we'll see about that. And I said, well, what do you do there? She says, I am a travel agent.
Oh, my.
Yeah, she books tours for Branson, right? So she just happened to be visiting somebody there in Shaver, which is the town that I was living in at the time. And so, you know, I just kind of was done with the conversation with her because she was just too much for me. But she turns around, she says, do you have a demo tape? And I said, as a matter of fact, I do. She says, well, give me your demo tape. And if when I get back to Branson, you're any good, I'll give you a call and you can come stay with me maybe. So, you know, this stuff is like, you know, when you make a plan, it just starts falling into place. So I huff it. I'm barefoot in my hippie skirt, and I'm running down to the office because my boss when I saw before the festival that he was out raking the leaves, and so he was there, and that's where my demo tape was, in a drawer at the dental office right there in this little town, right? So I go up and I say, I need to get in. Somebody wants my demo tape and is going to maybe put me up in Branson, you know. And he face palms again, right? So it's just a story of how when you set your mind to something, you can make it happen, you know. And so what ended up happening was they gave me a going away party, gave me brand new luggage. Oh, and she called me. She called me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she called me. She had my work number. She called me there at the office, and she said, girl, you're good. Get out here, and I want to be your manager. So isn't that funny? So it was just kind of a really great happening. And I went out there and oh my gosh, Ray, I had so many experiences that would just blow your mind. It was the happiest time of my life. I ended up working with Andy Williams and singing in his show and getting more of a stage performance experience as opposed to the drudgery of working the band scene. There's a lot of loading and unloading equipment, and it's grueling. It's 4 hours when you play in a band. It used to be anyway, 4 hours of dance, and it's just, you're up at 2:00 in the morning. I mean, Denny's at 2:30, 3:00 in the morning, on the weekends. But it was fun. But Andy Williams' show was a little bit, it was kind of a little step up in what it felt like to, be higher up in the music business. So It was really fun. It was really exciting. Andy, he's a character. And so I did my stint there, but I felt like I was not pursuing my own music because I had to perform in his show and dedicate myself to his show, but that wasn't why I was in Branson. So I was seeking other more headline type of shows that I could star in. And I ended up getting a entrepreneur that was purchasing Willie Nelson's theater. And he had discovered me, and he wanted me to be the headliner at his theater when the deal went down and he took over the theater. He had all these big plans. And he was going to have a press release and announcing me and announcing him having purchased the theater. And, I don't know if you remember, but Willie Nelson was having trouble with taxes, and so he was selling his theater.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all showed up. We showed up at the press conference, and he wasn't there. He was gone.
Oh.
Never heard from him again. Skipped town. I mean, I was dressed to the nines, and these were big plans and big dreams. So, it's just another one of those stories that, you hear about and you just go, wow,
Yeah.
But so the other thing that happened there that was kind of interesting was, I was trying to get in these country music shows all along Highway 76. I don't know if you're familiar with Branson, but that's the highway there that all the theaters are on.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah, I tried to get in. I wanted to work with Andy as well, but I wanted to pursue my own singing career. And I noticed that I wasn't getting hired anywhere. And word got out that they were only hiring the locals, the ball knobbers. They weren't hiring out of towners. They were blackballing us, and I couldn't get a gig to save my life. In the country music scene.
Wow.
Well, am I talking too much?
No, not at all.
Okay, so I'm right in the middle of Branson. I'm living with this wonderful woman, Shirley, who put me up, and she has a little trailer, and I'm living in one of the rooms in her trailer. And one day, so I had gone out on a date. That's it. I'd gone out on a date with, I don't know if you're familiar with Mel Tellis. Anybody
No,
familiar?
I'm not.
He's a famous country singer. And he had a bar, and I had been moonlighting, singing at this bar. And the bass player for the house band there had taken me out to dinner. Well, when we were done eating dinner, he had left, and I didn't realize it, but it was foggy earlier, and I had left my lights on. It was a daytime date. Well, my car was dead. Well, can you imagine being thousands of miles or hundreds of miles away from home? It seemed like thousands, and not having a single person to call, because Shirley, other than Shirley, there was no one else, and I couldn't get a hold of her.
Oh,
So
that must have been miserable.
Yeah, it was pretty terrifying. And this was before cell phones and whatnot. So I sat in this restaurant, and the wait staff and the cooks and whatnot were kind of noticing me. And the cook came out and said, "Oh, you broke down or something wrong?" I said, "Yeah, I left my lights on, my date left, and I'm just kind of stuck here trying to get a hold of my friend." And he said, "Well, we can give you a jump. My brother's coming later, and we'll give you a jump." So his brother comes, he jumps my car, and he says, "What the hell are you doing out here anyway?" And I said, "Well, I'm a singer. I'm out here pursuing my career." And he says, no shit, so am I. I ended up having a baby with the guy.
Oh, all right then.
Yeah, and we had, we're still the best of friends. Our relationship was strong for many years, but how things happen, and we have a beautiful daughter. But anyways, to make a long story longer, not to bore you,
Not at all.
I totally ditched the country music scene because I felt like it had betrayed me. It was just they wouldn't hire me, and so after this guy gave me a job, mind you, he's just a guy at this point of the story. He's just a guy. He I give him my card. I give him my card. I said, give me a call. We'll get together, maybe play some music, right? So I don't hear from him for 10 months. Well, I'd been hanging out at this little recording studio. My best friend, she became my best friend, who owns it. And he came in there. I don't remember I think he found my card on a bulletin board. So what took you so long to call me? And he said, well, I lost your card.
Oh my.
Yeah. So we created the band Leather and Lace. And so, I mean, I have thousands upon thousands of fantastic, amazing stories that happen, but I'll take a breath and let you ask another question. Oh, how did I get to? I came back to California, and I ended up, working with other bands, and then No found me on Facebook.
Oh.
Many bands later. So,
well, that's
that was
awesome.
Your question, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's great though. I love stories like that. That's absolutely phenomenal that. We all have to go through our trials to get where we need to be, and that was no exception.
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's just been one wild ride. But Revolushn really piqued my interest because of the people, A, and B, the music. The music is just incredible. It's different. Every song is different. No is a musical genius. So is his wife, Olga.
Mm-hmm.
He calls her Bundles.
Yeah.
They didn't think that was a real big deal, but I kind of pushed the issue. So now he starts. I notice in the interviews he introduces her as Bundles now.
Yeah.
It's like makes such a stink that is so freaking cute.
It is. It's adorable.
So sweet. So yeah, they are just madly in love, and they have a chemistry together that is just amazing, unmatched. Her video prowess is, as you can see, if you've seen any of the videos, is just she's just amazing.
Yeah.
And she's a classically trained pianist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that in combination with No's writing, his singing, his guitar playing is just, it's amazing. And I'm just so excited to be a part of a project that is exactly where I want to be, with the psych rock. I kind of have a little wild side to me. So it as people who know me realize, it's perfect. It's perfect for me. It's, it's back to my rock and roll roots, and the music itself is in a genre of its own, in my opinion, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I'm drawn to it. It's kind of its own unique thing. And I think between all of you, you really round each other out and make it phenomenal. So I give you props on that.
Well, you'd never know it, but No is, he doesn't let on that he's got kind of a technical background. He's kind of a big guy in the space arena. He used to make habitats for potential lives that would be lived on Mars. And that's pretty phenomenal, but he downplays himself. And Olga, she saved him. At least that's what he says. He says that, he didn't have much confidence in himself and his music. And she just, kind of said, like, are you freaking kidding me? You're phenomenal. You're awesome. And so she built him up. And so now we get to hear his expression of music, and look what it's doing. I mean, the world's getting to hear him. He reminds me of, like his own version, our own version of David Bowie. He hates that because it's like that, he's so humble, he would never accept that. But,
Right.
he wouldn't. And, but, when you think about it, the kids today don't really have a David Bowie.
That's true.
Now they do. They do. No is the answer to, the David Bowie that's missing in kids' lives. We had David Bowie. Us, I don't want to say older folks, but, he's eccentric. And then he's got Olga, too, that just brings it all together full circle. And, of course, I have to talk about the other players. Of course, there's David Kendrick, where Noah and David go way, way back. And David's just this, he's got this perpetual smile, but he doesn't say much. And you think he's an introvert, and then you put him behind a set of drums and he just comes alive, right?
Right.
And Noah was mentioning something. I check out their interviews, and he was interviewed, maybe it was by you. He was saying that David does something at the end of Electric. So I thought, I'm going to check that out. And sure enough, he's right. David, he's just amazing how he can just work the magic and do the fills and keep the timing and make it just all blend. But it's truly, technically impossible for like me or you to do.
Right. Absolutely.
And, and then there's our bass player, Neil Nyberg, who, okay, he might get mad at me for saying this, but I think he's an indigo child. You know what those are, right?
I do not.
I think I mentioned it to him before. Indigo children, they're people that were destined to make changes in the world for the better, to help us evolve. And he kind of lives for that. He lives for making change and spreading the message of love. And like, you'll see him and he'll be wearing a poster. He'll literally wear a poster that says, kindness is fucking sexy, right? I mean, he's just an amazing guy himself. So, when Noah approached me, at first I didn't have any idea that he was even thinking about hiring me for the band. Now, he might not have at that time either. We were just working together. I was doing some backup vocals. He'd kind of hired me to do backup vocals. And then he invited me to join the band. And I said, well, yeah, in a heartbeat. So we got the four that I've been talking about with the addition of myself. And hey, I'm thankful to be adding whatever I can add. I live for the stage, and I'm kind of nutty. So, I love the videos, and I love being in the videos. So it's just perfect. It's really perfect.
That's amazing. You got to be and are part of something so wild like that. I think you all work very well together.
Yeah. Well,
so would you like to let the listeners know the different social medias that you might know of to let them follow along and see what's going on with you and with Revolushn?
Well, I have a Facebook page. It's called Kim Aston. And, you can go there. But most importantly, it's revolushn.com. And then also the Revolushn Facebook page. But even better than that is Spotify. Well, actually, even better than Spotify, in my opinion, is YouTube, because you get to see Olga's video work, and that is essential. They go together. The music and her video work, you have to see them both. So definitely go to Revolushn on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook for sure.
Right on. And do you have any kind of advice that you would give for somebody who's just starting out in the singing career?
Yeah, use visualization, positive thinking, and know your power mentally, because when you set your mind to something, the universe starts evolving and turning and molding in the direction and way that it should be for your path to go in the direction that you are matching the frequency of. So think about it. Think positive. Words are very powerful. Speak what you want to do, and things will start happening. But you absolutely must not allow negative thoughts to come in, because that will just inhibit your progress.
That's wonderful. Wonderful words from a wonderful lady.
Well, thank you.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today and telling me your amazing story and everything that you went through to get where you are now. I mean, the band is wonderful. You all are doing such a fantastic job, and I think that no part of that could be done without your input. And so thank you so much for being on the show and letting me talk to you.
Well, hey, thank you, Ray. Gosh, it's been so fun. Okay, have a good one.
Well, thank you. And thank you to all the listeners who tuned in to check this out. We really appreciate you, sticking along with us and listening to everything that Kim's been a part of and what she's doing and where she's going and all of that. It's going to be a roller coaster. So make sure to get over to the social medias and check out those things, and get to revolushn.com and YouTube to check out those videos by Olga. I've checked them out. They're amazing, and you're not going to want to miss them. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you all next time. Oh, now that was an awesome interview. Thanks so much for listening. You all are so great. And don't forget to head to Facebook, Insta, and Twitter and follow The Leo Effects. If you want to hear some comedy and ridiculous voices, check out Shattered Dungeons on YouTube and all other places podcasts can be heard. And you'll hear me voicing crazy characters, usually pretty terribly. So thank you so much. You all are the absolute best. And we will see you all on the next episode.